I am a sinner.
And whether we come from another city in Texas or another city in the U.S., we're all attracted to Austin.
I don't understand. Sometimes
Inevitably, whether we've been here 10 years like I have or 1 year, you realize that Austin isn't what they said it was.
Your energy from 2 planets away. I got my drink, I got my music, I will share it. But today I'm feeling, don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Look inside of my soul and you can find gold and maybe get rich.
There's a lot of gaps you feel the need to fill. There's a lot of community that you miss from wherever you came from, and you're trying to create that for yourself.
I can say that I like a challenge and you to me is painless. You don't know what pain is. How can I paint this picture when the colorblind is hanging with you? Fell on my face and I woke with a scar. Another mistake.
We all tend to find each other some way, somehow.
Admit that it did look like yours. Why you resent every making of his? Tell me your purpose is petty again. But even a small light they can burn a bridge. Even a small light they can burn a bridge. I can feel the changes. I can feel the new people around me just wanna be famous. You can see that my city found me, then put me on stages. To me, that's amazing.
Came here for school. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, like a suburb in the DFW Metroplex. And so now I am a online storyteller, online personality, humor writer, type of influencer if you want to send me free lotion. So Austin has some of the best marketing in the country, I think, because when you think Austin, you think very specific things. And then when you come here, it's not that, or that's not the full picture.
I was expecting more diversity. I think when I first got down here, it was extremely hard to find anybody that was like black or really POC.
It was either going to be here or LA, honestly, for me. I was really doing a lot of music back then, and I saw Austin as a live music capital of the world. So I wanted to jump into that to see what it was like before coming here and realizing that it's not so much.
When I moved here, it's when a lot of black people were moving up north. I found out that a lot of people were leaving the city because of gentrification and because of everything just becoming more pricey. And so I kind of came at a bad time trying to meet people like that. What I initially had to do was find them on Instagram. I just reached out to somebody. I was like, I'm looking for friends, which is, kind of a creepy approach when you think about it. But eventually somebody reached out and was like, yeah, I'm looking for friends too. Let's hang out.
When someone finds out that I live in Austin, they give me that look, how is it? You can be honest, how is it?
I remember there were weekends when I first moved here in 2016 where there was literally no black events
At all,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And since then, that's changed. The one good thing about being in an atmosphere like that is that people, especially the transplants, they tend to stick together. So even though there wasn't public things for us to do as black culture, there were a lot of house parties, game nights,
kickbacks, pool parties,
yeah, all that stuff. We did all so we created our own scene first, and that's actually how we grew to be where we are now. Is because we had a strong kind of inner group following. And it was through a couple different apps. One is called Young Black Austin.
Prototype is an artist showcase with a live band, DJ, poetry, live singers.
We had hip hop.
We had some hip hop comedians, and it was just there. It was just a opportunity for us just to thrive in the space that is for us. We don't really get too many spaces like that.
We wanted to create something that Austin could gravitate towards artistically, something that could feed people's soul.
Not only that, I think it was so successful because we just didn't have nothing like that. We had to adapt, and we always had to get the techno beats with the Beyonce songs, and nobody want to hear that. We want to be organic. It was just seeing what we can do, knowing what we don't have, and we just took an opportunity, took a chance, and it worked.
So Brown State of Mind is an organization that I created with my friend Akili. We don't have enough spaces for POC. Everywhere I go, it's like white dominant. The art that I see is white dominant. The music that I see is white dominant. And I'm like, I know there's more than white people here, so I just wanted to give everybody like an even playing field. Collaborating with people and they're coming up and being like, this is our first performance. Or, I sold my first piece for X amount. Or, I just feel so good being in a room with people that look like me. I feel comfortable. I felt like I was at home. Those have been like some of the greatest moments of doing this.
When I got back to Austin the second time, I started Austin While Black, which was a docu-series with my friend Doyen, who also went to journalism school here. Around the time where some census information came out and said that Austin was the fastest growing city in the US with an actively declining Black population, which was the only fastest growing city that was doing that. And so people who studied population were really fascinated with Austin, and it was easy to fall into this trap of like, there are no Black people anywhere. And we're like, no, that's not true. So we decided to make a series that highlighted the people who are still here, and through the lens of their career or whatever organization they're with, learning about the city through their eyes. For me, that was the beginning of realizing this narrative of like, oh, I am one of the few, or I am visible where the rest of people who look like me aren't as visible. And what does that mean? And how can I change that? Do people want to change that? And kind of grappling with that idea.
I think that there's been an influx of younger people coming in of color, and we're all like on the same path, like on the same grind, and have the same goals of meeting each other and just hanging out essentially.
Said I love the lie, lie the love. In 1928, the Austin City Council engaged a planning firm out of Dallas named Koch and Fowler. And what they did was they were engaged by the city to create a master plan. This plan also called for the creation of a Negro district. Blacks who lived in other parts of the city, they were told that if they wanted goods and services like churches, or let's say like schools, or running water or electricity or good streets, that they had better leave their areas, the other areas where they had lived originally, and move east.
My mom had a cafe on East 11th Street down there before it became like it is now, And my aunt had a cafe next to the Harlem Theater. And my father had a service station 2 blocks down on Angelina and 12th. And urban renewal is what they called it then. Moved my parents, they had to move out of there. My father never really got over that. I think that this really gave him to the point where he just gave up. And he didn't live much longer after that. It was this realtor that came in from Houston, and I don't know how he got in touch with me, but that's when I really got the hint that everything was going to get ready to change in East Austin. A lot of African American people lived all the way over there. They called it Black Land. It just sort of bothered me because there was nothing for them to do. There was nowhere for them to go except for further out.
I have mixed feelings about gentrification. I do. I'm glad to see an interest in the properties and the properties being brought back up. But a bad point to it is that the housing prices are so expensive now. The east side was pretty well ignored until whites started moving over here. Somehow it's easier now for folks to get loans to rebuild their houses. But the way Austin was marketed, it was marketed as a town for hip, young white students or hip young white professionals. You know, I try to tell people that history is not just the past, but it's also the present, it's also the future. And I try to engage people into thinking that they too are part of history. I think all people who are oppressed, and black people in particular, people find a way of making a way out of no way. You know, they find a way, when life throws them lemons, they know how to make lemonade.
We literally can't move very far without each other. And so we have to like share resources, put other people on. At the end of the day, I think we all recognize that we can't get very far without each other.
Because yes, we weren't pushed out, we are misplaced, displaced, but now we have so many things working for us. Blackness in and of itself is a culture. So everything, pop culture is practically black. Music itself is practically black. And understanding our past history, we can definitely leverage it to make Austin what you want it to be. It's just gonna take a bit more work than what you would in a normal, bigger city. But it's there, it's just you have to take initiative and engage it for yourself.
I am fascinated to see what happens to Austin because it's not just black people that are affected. It is the larger artist community. It is the music community. When you are a musician and you can't afford to live in the live music capital of the world, that's ridiculous. It's one thing to say as a city that you value something, and it's another thing to show it in the landscape.
I think whether you're transplant or native, I think we're all black, and I think we can all use our blackness to create community and create culture.
The villains are coming.